different dark psychology concept Tony falls into.
That's what I'm talking about.
Punt with Ladbrokes and see where the big money's going with big bets. Access real-time punting intel and follow the sharp money moves on every race. Ladbrokes shows you the big bets live. Go, you good thing. What are you really gambling with?
The man who got killed in the last chapter was Philly Parisi, also known as Spoons. The reason he was murdered was because he had a big mouth.
He had her in a nursing home, you know?
Get the fuck out of here.
And this upset Junior no end. And when Junior come after him, Tony went to the home, tried to suffocate his own mother.
Maybe you should spread that rumor.
He was seeing a psychiatrist.
Tony?
Fucking broad from Montclair.
Through the grapevine, it was heard that Spoons was spreading rumors about Tony in a negative light, and for that reason, his life went on no further. Tony did this for an obvious reason. If these rumors were to circulate, they would make him look weaker, a man who doesn't respect his mother, a man who talks about his feelings to a therapist. That couldn't be his reputation. So what does this make Tony? You may have heard of Niccolo Machiavelli, a political philosopher from the 16th century who'd carried out work on political power and influence. In his treatise, The Prince, Machiavelli outlines ideas, principles and tactics that have served as a blueprint for seekers of influence throughout history. Amongst his favourite dictates are that it's better to be feared than to be loved, and that the appearance of virtue is more important than virtue itself. And so, leaders in history choosing to use his principles and tactics have been deemed Machiavellian, consisting of traits such as a focus on self-interest at all times and an understanding of the importance of image, perception and superficial appearance, and the ruthless exercise of power and cruelty over compassion and mercy. Simply put, before an action is carried out, a person with a Machiavellian approach to the world will ask themselves, how will this benefit me, and how will my public perception be impacted as a result? So in the Spoons incident, the murder benefits him as it prevented the spread of the rumour, and his public perception would also increase if he told people that Spoons was killed for spreading rumours, as the other mafia members would see him as a ruthless leader. And that's where another issue arises. As the head of a family in the mafia, you pretty much have to be Machiavellian, and you have to opt into being feared as opposed to being loved. A mob leader that is loved but isn't feared poses the risk of being taken out as they're not a threat, but being feared keeps everyone obedient. So Tony doesn't have much of a choice if he wants to stay on top in the long run. Later in the show, a member of his crew, Vito, gets outed as a homosexual, something not just looked down upon in their culture, but worthy of death.
I want to kill the fat f***ing myself, be a fucking honor. I can't believe I stuck up for him. I feel like I've been stabbed in the heart.
We can't have him here in our social club no more. I mean, that much I do know.
Social club? He's gotta go!
However, when discussing the matter with his therapist, Dr. Melfi, he admits that he truly doesn't care.
How do you feel about homosexuality?
I find it disgusting. Men kissing men, holding hands in the street. This guy that got outed, look, something inside me says, God bless, I salute. Who gives a shit?
However, after seeing everyone start to wonder why he's taking so long to order the hit, despite wanting to let him live, Tony caves in.
Vito, Atlantic City, forget it. Want to change up? I can't keep fighting Phil on this. Our businesses are all entwined. You gotta pick your battles. You want your no-show jobs, Vito's gotta go.
In this situation, and for the sake of longevity, it's more beneficial to get Vito killed because it will reinforce this image that he's a ruthless leader. Another instance was with Jackie Jr., and this situation has been up for debate online, so I'm here to put my opinion down. Jackie Jr. was the son of the late Jackie Aprile, who Tony was close with. Tony tried to keep him on the straight and narrow, not to be in the mafia involved with violence, but to finish education and get a good job. But Jackie Jr. became obsessed with wanting to be respected as a gangster, and ends up attempting to rob a card game, shooting and killing the dealer, shooting and wounding Tony's driver Furio, and then fleeing the scene. Now, the expectation of Tony here is to order his murder, but because of Jackie's father and because his own family were close to Jackie, he had to protect his image to the family that he wouldn't do something like that. But on the other hand, the mafia members wouldn't respect him for letting this slide, so he uses very subtle words and actions when talking to Ralph to accomplish this.
Tell you the truth, Tony, I want to give the kid a pass.
Yeah?
It's just me, though. I know you got bigger concerns, you're the boss, and I'll make sure your orders are done, whatever they may be.
Well, I think you should go with your instincts on this, Ralph.
You do? But Furio took a hit. Chris, these are made men.
Well, make sure they respect your decision. Because I'm sure you're gonna do the right thing. That's why I made you captain. Now, hey, your decision goes the other way. The one thing you cannot do, Ralph, you cannot do, is blame yourself. You took this kid under your wing. You schooled him as best you could. Didn't you?
What I believe Tony is doing here is using hypnotism. No, not that type of hypnotism, but one used in the realm of dark psychology. The simple definition would be the ability to make suggestions to someone that filter through deep layers of their consciousness. The suggestion doesn't have to be explicit, but can be applied in a context that both parties might understand, and typically, the most skilled manipulators can make it super subtle. Without this understanding, you might view this scene as Tony almost siding with Ralph and supporting his decision to let Jackie be. But there are multiple things Tony says or does after Ralph states he wants to give Jackie a pass that can fall into this hypnosis category.
Well, I think you should go with your instincts on this, Ralph.
This is the first implicit suggestion. You have to remember the manipulator needs to sway them in a direction without making it apparent they're trying to do so. Tony and Ralph are in the mafia, where the principles are, when someone does something as bad as what Jackie did, they need to go. Both Tony and Ralph are aware of this, so by telling Ralph go with your instincts, it's causing Ralph to consider what would be the smartest decision to make here. He reinforces this with,
because I'm sure you're gonna do the right thing. That's why I made you captain.
By Tony saying do the right thing, it implies that there is a right and wrong. And as mentioned, being in the mafia, Tony is implicitly reminding him that there is an expectation, and as a captain, he bears responsibility. Remember, Tony's aim in this conversation is to make Ralph kill Jackie Jr. to save face, but without it officially being ordered by him to spare him of the guilt. But Ralph is also close to Jackie Jr., as he is in a relationship with Jackie Jr.'s mother and doesn't want the guilt either. So Tony then mentions,
the decision goes the other way. The one thing you cannot do, Ralph, is blame yourself.
This is Tony's final and most blatant attempt to sway Ralph in the direction of doing it. You see, Ralph behind the scenes was actually a bad influence to Jackie Jr. The whole idea of robbing the card game was suggested by Ralph. Ralph gave Jackie Jr. his first gun, which Tony found on him. And Tony doesn't know this, but he suspects Ralph of something along these lines. So this statement is used to make Ralph feel some sort of responsibility for what needs to be done, because he knows this statement isn't true. I think this scene is a beautiful display of dark psychology in action. Not long after, Jackie Jr. does get killed on Ralph's orders, and Tony didn't once have to directly give the order. But by using hypnosis, he saved face and doesn't have to carry the guilt. But Tony's ability to understand these tactics allows him